Welcome everyone back to the third International Arts and Homelessness Summit. I am Matt from Arts and Homelessness International, the network of Arts and Homelessness. Hello to anyone new who's here today in London and to everyone online as well. It's wonderful to see you. We're very excited about this next panel. It's going to be hosted by the wonderful Lisa Ogun, who's an artist, producer, writer, alumni of our Associates Leadership Programme, a performer, multi-hyphenate, amazing legend. And we have a very special online panel for the Global Majority Projects panel. When we started out as an international network, we realised that our community was dominated by projects in the Global North, particularly in the UK and the USA, and we really wanted to try and fix that. So we spent quite a while on a research project led by three extraordinary researchers in the Global Majority to engage with more projects all around the region. And next month we're officially setting up knowledge exchange hubs online that will meet 4 times a year in Latin America, which has kind of already started. I'm going to slow down for our translators. I'm really sorry, Alex and Jan. I can hear them in my ear. A region in Africa, and then a region that brings together Middle East and Asia. And we're so lucky to have the 3 lead NGOs online today. Lisa is going to get them to introduce themselves, but just to say, when we came together to talk about this panel, they wanted to do a manifesto in poetry about silence, which is going to be incredibly moving, I think, and very important to talk about at the moment with everything that's going on and the injustices that we're feeling every day in the world. So over to Lisa.
Thank you, Matt. Welcome everybody, and welcome everybody that's joining us online. Yes, as Matt has wonderfully introduced, there's these regions that Matt was talking about are actually called the Hive of Hubs. So basically, they're all hubs, but then all of them together are a little hive, just like the hive of a bee. And yes, so our 3 main regions that we have right at the moment are online now. Welcome, Benga, Abdel Fattah, and Daniela. Nice to have you with us. And they have a beautiful, I've listened to this already, beautiful collaborative poem to perform to you this afternoon. So yeah, I will hand over to our leads here. Could you please, for our audiences here and online, introduce yourselves? Abdel Fattah, I'll come to you first. Could you tell us your name in full, because I didn't want to pronounce your name and get it wrong, and what city you are in and what organisation you are hailing from, please? Oh, we can hang on 1 minute. 1 minute, Abdel Fattah. Sorry, you started speaking and then we just could not hear you. Technology. Snore. I know. Abdel Fattah has a fantastic background. Wow. I need to ask him how he does that. Just have everything great that I do, all those things going on in the background while I speak. Abdel Fattah, do you want to try? Should we try again? Yeah?
1 second.
1 second. Oh, yes, now. Sorry. No?
No.
No, we still can't. We can see you talking, but we cannot hear your voice. So bear with us. Ah, something happened. We just heard something. Abdel Fattah, can we hear you?
Hello.
Yay. Right, I am so sorry. I will pose that question to you again. Please, could you introduce yourself, your full name, the organisation that you hail from, the city and country too, please?
So my name is Abdel Fattah Abu Sroor, and this is the short version. And the longer version is Abdel Fattah, Abdel Karim, Hassan, Ibrahim, Muhammad, Ahmad, Mustafa, Ibrahim, Mahmoud Sroor Abu Sroor. I was born in Aida refugee camp, Bethlehem, occupied Palestine, and I am founder and director of Ar-Ruwad Cultural and Arts Society in Aida refugee camp since 1998.
And where are you situated at this moment right now, apart from that beautiful background?
In Bethlehem.
Thank you so much, Abdel Fattah.
Thank you.
I come over to you now, Daniela. Please, also the same question to you, please. Could you please introduce yourself fully, the organization that you work for, that you lead, and the city and country you're in, please?
Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Daniela Camozzi. I am from Buenos Aires, Argentina, and the organization is No Tan Distintas. We are a group of women and LGBT plus people who were or are homeless now, and a group of activists, including myself, that work together in a number of projects. I'm very happy to be here today.
Thank you, and we're happy to have you with us. Thank you so much, Daniela. And Benga, I do come to you now. Please, could you also introduce all of the above about yourself?
Hi everyone, my name is Benga Yusuf. I'm in Lagos, Nigeria. I'm the founder of Seeing Through the Arts, where we create awareness of social issues using the performing arts as a major means of expression. And I'm pleased to be here today. Thank you.
Welcome to all of you. Thank you so much. Matt has already introduced why we have these three leads. So I will then ask you to please, we're all anticipating your beautiful poem on silence, called Silence. I hand it over to you now.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So we should start with the poem now?
Yes, please, Daniela.
Silence or speech, depending on situation and place. Time is there for each, whether you are coward or brave. Hay frases para hacer callar. Certain phrases keep you silent. Hay frases para hacer hablar. Certain phrases help you speak. Silence has walked with me for a long time. I don't want it anymore. Hay silencios que matan. There is a silence that is a killing silence. Silence can be a form of calm, can be a lack of words, can be someone shutting you up. ¿Por qué no te callas de una vez? Why don't you just shut up? It took only one look to make me shut up. Don't hit me anymore. I understand now. Please do not call me by my full name. Silence is being censored because of who you are. Que censuren a tu poema por ser mujer, por pobre, por estar en la calle. Censored because of the poem you wrote, being a girl and poor and homeless. On the streets you hear the noise of the world, the noise of others. La charla, vos estás en silencio. They talk, you're silent. You can only hear the click of your lighter, a white noise. It is hard to break the silence unless you scream. A veces hay que guardar silencio ante el poder. Sometimes you have to stay quiet in the face of power until someone else breaks that silence. And we are many, supporting each other, finding our voice. silence or speech, depending on situation and place. Time is there for each. Seas cobarde o valiente.
You're muted, Abdel Fattah.
Sorry. Silence or speech, depending on situation and place, time is there for each, whether you are coward or brave. When the whisper grows into a scream, in the stillness of the night, silence is a dream of crushed hopes and failed promises. In a muted dawn, silence flourishes. Take a moment, reflect, let silence speak what strength it gives, if that what you seek. The words are weapons fatal and cruel. Silence protects, deprives hatred from its fuel. But silence too is a burdening shroud when truth is repressed. Deceptions are loud. Injustice reigns and oppression is proud. Silence is complicit. Cries in vain, subjugated crowd. صمت أو كلام حسب الموقف والمكان كل له مقام أكنت جريئا أو جبان. When love vanishes and hearts bleed, silence outbursts a shady seed in the face of agony and slayed pain. Silence dehumanizes without shame. When family, lovers, friends unite, silence bonds and faces are pride. In moments of sadness and broken hearts, silence is louder than words, bombs, and charts. Yet, with every sunrise, a day is born. Silence inhales and blows the horn of new awakened dreams, and fear hides. Silence nurtures imagination and hope's guide. صمت أو كلام حسب الموقف والمكان كل له مقام أكنت جريئا أو جبان. When the oppressed claim a stand, silence fades and paves the way to fighting for justice. Hand in hand, silence fails regardless of the price to pay. When voices rise high and the truth is clearly told, silence dissolves like dirt under the rain. In the face of wrong, compromises are bold. Silence wilts and courage blossoms again. When there is nothing to say, silence is not an echo in the abyss, but when life dances and joy leads the way, silence leads where words treasure peace. صمت أو كلام حسب الموقف والمكان كل له مقام أكنت جريئا أو جبان. Silence is gold, they say. Who wants to be rich? But when silence is a poison, who dares to drink? When silence is a victory and talk is defeat, you better recognize which crowns the seat. For in the end, what balance to be found? When silence and speech under the same cloud, silence and voice united and bound, what harmony of a quiet and sound. Silence or speech, depending on situation and place, time is there for each. أكنت جريئا أو جبان.
Silence or speech, depending on situation and place, time is there for each, whether you're coward or brave. Shh. Silence is power. A weapon wielded by the strong. The oppressor whispers, stay silent, play along. Threats in the dark, promises that sting, and the silence becomes the cage in which we cling. The government speaks without saying a word. Policies crumble, voices are blurred. The silence of leaders deafens the street, while injustice marches on steady feet. The homeless man walks unseen, unheard. The child, fragile and alone. The woman with wagging tongues ready to judge. The man, lazy and sluggish to even be. All this because no one is ready to talk. And what of the countries that turn their backs, while the children starve and bombs attack? What of a world that sees but doesn't act? Silence echoes, leaving humanity cracked. But silence can end. It ends when the child finds their voice, when the mother speaks a truth, a choice, when the man lays down the burden of pride and the homeless are seen, not pushed aside. It was loud once, but not anymore, because we chose to speak. And that's where the healing starts. We do not live alone upon this earth. We are responsible for each other. Silence is speech, depending on situation and place. Time is there for each. Bóyá ó jẹ́ ojú tàbí ọlọ́gbọ́n.
Silence for speech.
Depending on situation and place.
Time is there for each. Howard or brave. Thank you.
I didn't know that. I'm really sorry for instigating the premature clapping, but yeah, we should have been clapped all the way through because it was just amazing, right? So amazing, so profound. I am so happy and proud to be part of this team. Well done, guys. I have some questions. I do have some questions. Right, so I'm guessing I'm going to speak on behalf of possibly some of the things that are mulling around your brain right now. It's like, how did the theme of silence come about? And that's just open to anybody who wants to answer.
Well,
How was it? I don't remember exactly. We had several meetings, right?
we had several meetings. I proposed that theme because I'm working on a play about the judgment of silence. And with what we are facing in Palestine and the violation of the freedom of expression on the countries that are talking about the freedom of expression and so on, silencing the voices who are in solidarity with Palestine was beyond anybody's understanding. How you can criticize anybody in your governments, but you cannot criticize this illegal occupation and Zionist mentality. So it was that idea that I launched, and everybody was online with that. And I guess it is something that we are suffering from when the oppressed are silenced and when those who support them even are silenced as well.
Thank you.
And sorry, if I may add to that, I also think that everybody agreed to that just because in the world today, silence is really in our faces, so to speak. Most people are keeping quiet just because these things are not in my compound, they're not in my backyard. So it is not affecting me. I have to turn a blind eye. and it's something that needs to be eradicated. It's something that needs to be talked about. It's the key thing that the world, everybody, humanity needs to do. Speak up and speak for people.
Daniela, did you have anything to say? I know that you started saying something at the
Yes.
beginning.
I remember I also mentioned that from a feminist point of view, women have been silent, are told to be silent for so long that it is something that we constantly try to do, try to find the words, trying as most of you were saying before, trying to speak up and finding the way to do it, and most of the times we do it collectively. And I think those themes appear in the poem and in the 3 sections of the poem that we created as well.
Thank you very much. So what was your process of coming together to collaborate and do that? Could you just share? I mean, I know because I was there, but they don't. So could you just share with the international audience how you were able to, even though you're in 3 very different parts of this world, were able to, I know it was on Zoom, but let's not say that, able to come together and jointly come up with such a beautiful performance? That's also to
Danny?
everybody. Yes? Go for it.
We can
Or
keep
you
the same order around.
Anybody can speak, right?
Yes, please.
Well,
everybody.
Well, I guess on one side we were invited by you to start the process and do something similar to what we have done last year as well. And we organized a couple of meetings. Each one have written his own piece in the beginning, and then we came together with you, Lisa, as well, facilitating the meeting, and discussed the different pieces, whether we integrate that together or everyone reads his own, and then we find a key verse that connects with the pieces together, one side, one way or the other. And so we'll find that verse that connects the pieces together, which was repeated by everybody, and then translated in each language, which was to end with the last verse as well, from each one within their own language. I think that's how we did it. We did 3 meetings, I think, in global, rehearsed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were very good at that. I loved that. I loved how you picked out that key point of actually you found the commonality that even though you're in 3 different regions of this world, you were able to find the commonality of the theme silence. It's something that's global and it's happening everywhere, and the same themes are reoccurring in all 3 areas. So
Yep.
it was I guess it was nice to see that it became very organic when you found that key phrase to jump on and turn into your own and repeat in your own language as a stanza, or a verse almost, a chorus, I mean. And from my point of view, it was very beautiful to see how you 3 morphed into one beautiful piece. I do have one very last question. From the world of Zoom, as we saw from the beginning of this session here, were there any challenges to the process, coming from 3 different regions and having to come together? Anyone can answer.
Well, I was thinking that the thing is that the technical aspects, we were very ambitious at first. We wanted to do more than this. We wanted to sing and be able to find some other more, I don't know if sophisticated, but different ways of combining the poems and merging them. But we finally understood that we could have some synchronicity issues or other technical aspects. So we tried to keep it simple, but found the repetition of the stanza as one way to put everything together and make it understandable for everybody, for the ones online and the ones that are present, they are in person. And on a different note, I also wanted to say that this poem that I read was written originally in Spanish by our group. I didn't write the poem, or I did, but collectively. So here we are listening to the voices of Paula and Ashelen and Cynthia and many others combined.
That's beautiful. Thank you very much. I'm going to come back to you about that process, Daniela. First of all, I have some questions that I want to direct to each and every one of you. The first one is to Abdel Fattah. What do you think are the challenges or the hypocrisies of silence in our world, or where you are?
Well, there are a lot of challenges. Fear is one of them, money and power, fame, and so on. So a lot of people remain silent because they are afraid of their job, position, possibilities to work in the future, like the great artists, actors, Hollywood people, and so on. The fear of being punished if you dare to speak, the incapacity to bear what is happening, and then you maybe say to yourself, whatever I say, it will not change anything, so you just take yourself away from the challenge to speak and dare to challenge the narrative of the media brainwashing and so on. You might be afraid of being marginalized and excluded and so on. But within the actualities of what is happening in different parts of the world, it has been shown that it's not only the powerful and the rich and the dictators who own the narrative. A lot of people all over the world have stood and steadfast, demonstrated, walked in the streets, shouted as loud as they want. But at the end of the day, they feel that it did not change the politics of their country. It did not change South-North relations and the exploitation of the North to the South. It did not change the media still brainwashing that continues to demonstrate the complicity and the hypocrisy of what is going on and so on. So there are many challenges, but I believe that miracles will not happen alone. So we need to provoke them to happen. And that is a responsibility for every single person. That every single person is important, that every single voice is important to make a change, that everyone is a change maker. And if we are waiting for miracles to happen, they will not happen. When people go to despair, I usually say we don't have this luxury of despair. We need to have a better heritage that we can leave to our children and the generations to come, to be courageous and say and defend what is just and what is right, regardless of who is the oppressed and who is the oppressor. Otherwise, nothing will change, and we will keep seeing every day that comes worse than the day that goes. So it's individual responsibility as well as collective one.
That is totally correct, and thank you very much for your answer. Yes, thank you very much. My next question is to you, Benga. Why do we have to sometimes keep silent? What are the ramifications of keeping silent, and what are the ramifications of not keeping silent, in your opinion?
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you for that question. First, though, I need to ask, do we still need to speak slowly for the translators, or we should just
Yes.
talk?
Yes, but
I speak slowly, right?
I think your speech is slow enough. I think yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I've been given the nod. Yeah, how
All
you're
right,
speaking is
okay.
okay.
All right. So back to the question. Firstly, I want to say it is critical that we speak up and we speak for people. We add our voice to people, to the voiceless, so to speak. But sometimes staying silent is a deliberate choice, can be a deliberate choice, can be influenced by the context or the circumstances. Silence can serve a purpose in certain situations. And number one for me is to listen. Silence allows us to truly listen to others, understand their perspectives, process the information, help us not to act impulsively. And it also prevents misunderstanding and ensure that the responses are thoughtful and are informed. Number two, sometimes we stay silent in order for us not to de-escalate conflict. Countries, cultures, religions right now, we've had heated situations in the past, and there are ones that are going on right now, and most of them are because a simple line, a simple sentence said on social media can escalate to a whole country fight, being at war with another country. And sometimes if we keep quiet, stay silent, we can de-escalate conflict, we can prevent arguments, we can, well, choosing not to respond immediately can create space for emotions to settle. Then proper dialogue and conversation can start. Also, speaking up requires you to understand the time season, when to speak, when not to speak, because speaking out at the wrong time can be ineffective or even be counterproductive. So silence can be a strategic choice while waiting for the right moment to act or address an issue. Number 4 point that I wrote down is when words might cause harm. Because sometimes what we say can unintentionally hurt others or make a situation worse. So staying silent sometimes ensures we avoid saying things that we might later regret. Also, when it's not in our place, recognizing when our voice might overshadow or undermine someone else's experience or expertise is important. I would choose to stay silent if it allows those directly affected to take the lead, and I stand behind them, supporting them in whatever way they need at the moment. In some cases, silence itself can be a powerful form of communication, conveying grief, solidarity, or protest without words. So, to round this up, I would say silence is not always a sign of weakness or complacency. But when used intentionally, it can be a thoughtful, strategic, or compassionate choice that complements a meaningful action. I have a lot of points written down, but because of them, I think I'll just round up for now.
That's really insightful and profound thinking, don't you reckon? Because it's really easy to go, we need to speak up, but now actually we need to take stock of thinking about that speaking up time. So thank you very much for that, Benga. My last question here is to you, Daniela, which is what are some of the ways or approaches we can use art to fight those injustices, like the one that we just spoke about, silence, the wrong type of silence, that is.
Yeah. It's interesting that we found a way in our poems to speak about the good side of silence. That this is kind of a learning process. I was thinking about how the poem that we wrote in our workshop ends with the line, supporting each other, finding our voice. So I'm thinking how to collectively learn to do this. Because it's, if we do it in that way, we can have some form of a toolkit to constantly learn when to stay silent as a form of fighting, and it should never be a silence that is imposed on us. So I believe that in collective action and co-creation in workshops or in our organizations in different activities, that's what we do. We learn all the time how to have more into that toolkit. And I think it as a learning process, and I think it as a collective form of action to constantly approach this. So yeah, as we did in a way when we created this poem, the three of us.
So what you're saying is to basically workshopping art allows you to, raise the issue and use the art to tease out the fundamental aspects of the issue. And, if it wasn't from workshopping, I'm guessing we might not have heard the other side of things. Everyone says to speak out, but then it's from workshopping and writing that poem that we then got to see both sides of the coin of the word silence, that we know is an injustice, but also, as Benga raised, had some points to it that we need to consider. And it's from workshopping and using the arts, like the poem, that you can tease these things out.
Yeah, exactly. And also, this keeps growing because we do it through the arts, workshopping, as you say, and then we march and protest when the time comes. So that's what I meant about learning. Maybe there is a better phrase or word to put it better. It's like we don't spontaneously go out and fight. We prepare all the time. So we get ready doing all this.
Using the arts, I love that. Thank you so much, Daniela. Okay, so now we've still got a little bit of time to now ask our beautiful audience here and the ones online as well. Does anybody here have any questions for our hub leads, Wenga, Abdel Fattah, or Daniela? Or anything coming in from online? Yes, you do.
Is the poem published anywhere so that we
Is
can
the
revisit
poem
it?
Is the poem published anywhere? Sorry.
So again, I wanted to know if the poem is published, available somewhere so that we can revisit it or share it.
Okay.
We want to publish it.
Or will it be? I suppose that's a question that we can ask Arts and Homelessness International.
If we have permission, we will share it.
Yeah. So I guess what the question now is: does Arts and Homelessness International have permission to have it be
Disseminated.
shared publicly, so that people can go back to it and reread it? And
You can think about it and then tell us because they're on the spot. But,
I think the purpose of us putting that point together is for opportunities like this, where we can share and people can look at it, read it, digest it, and that can inspire somebody else to take it up from there. I think it's for me. I can't speak for my colleagues, but I think that we all share the same notion. If I say it is open to everyone to have access to and start a creation, different creation from there.
As all art should be.
Well, you are the first audience, in fact. You are the first to hear it, so it's the
Yeah.
premiere.
There you go. Well, thank you
And
very much.
yes, please, do
I think
share
that's
it,
a
and we
solid
hopefully
yes.
will build up to publish something together.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you very
sure.
much. Yes, there's another question from the audience. Yes.
Not so much a question, but I just like in addition,
Okay, so you have to speak up a little bit. Sorry.
what's come to mind is when you have the right to remain silent. Anything you do say will be held against you in whatever that the whole.
Oh, yeah.
It's never meant to me personally, but that's what's come to mind in terms of the right to be silent as well.
Yes.
So I have a question, but I wanted to just put that forward as.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so the police spiel, when you get arrested,
Yeah.
you have the right to remain silent, but anything you say will be held against you, came to the mind of our audience member. Do you have anything to say about that? It's also obviously, it limits your rights to speak, and also gives limitations on silence as well. So, anyone got anything to say about the police spiel? I think it's the same across the board. I don't know. Daniela, do the police in your country and Abdel Fattah
Yeah.
well, I mean, everyone. When the police
It's,
stop
it's,
you, do
it's,
they
it's
tell you?
everyone. It's everywhere, I think.
Yeah, it's not exactly the same.
Oh,
The police doesn't say that. Well, we have the right, but they don't read that to you, or they don't say that to you. We know that because we know it from cultural exchanges.
Yeah, well,
and fiction.
in the court of law,
Yeah.
in the court of law, what you said can be pulled against you, right, Danny?
Yeah, of course, in the court, yes.
Yeah.
And and it's mostly written, so we don't have oral proceedings. We do have them, but in general they are in writing, so it's kind of different. But you have the right not to speak or not to answer a question. Yes.
Yeah, but usually you are blackmailed to just talk. But I guess the idea is that it depends always in the situation whether if silence is to be a coward, then you better speak. If silence is courage, then it might be respected. If somebody insults you in the street, so you might respond back or you might just ignore it. And this is not always because you are weak or because you are coward, because you don't want to waste your time and energy in such nonsense in that sense. And at the same time, if you want just to speak without really anything behind, then it's futile and it's a waste of time for others as well to listen to something else. It's not directly linked to what you said about the police, because here it's beaten and then you can be interrogated mostly before somebody tells you have the right to be silent. Nobody tells you have the right to be silent. When even children are detained by Israeli occupation soldiers, it's just beaten before they reach even the station and so on. So I guess it depends on the situation, but globally, sometimes silence is courage, sometimes it's cowardice, and so we have to choose who you are in that sense.
very true.
If I may add to that, I would say that if the police say to you, you have the right to remain silent, it also shows us that we also have the right to speak up. And if you have the right to stay silent, then you have the right to speak. And it also helps to put speaking out in the right perspective. It means that it's a weapon, it's powerful. It can be used against you, or you can use it to speak for people. Uh, but you don't have to speak because you can speak. I would rather advise that we speak because we have something to say. It's intentional. We're not just opening our mouth and blabbing our words. No, there's a reason for why you're speaking. There's a goal, there's an aim. There are people to be out. There are people you're speaking for. There are people you're speaking against, and you're very, very intentional about it. And as artists, we speak almost every time. We speak with our music, we speak with our dances, we speak with our production, and we can stand behind what we do or what we say in our artistic expressions and pieces. Like this poem, we can stand behind this poem and say, yes, we put this poem together and it's addressing an issue and it's, as its own aim, as its own target, and this we can stand behind. We can back it up anywhere, even in the court of law.
That's very true. Thank you very much, all three of you, for answering that question. You did say, however, that we've got a question here, Angelique.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you for the really powerful poem. I think it has, it could reach so many activists and audiences, and I appreciate the work that you've put in to create such a beautiful piece. I was going to say, when it comes to seeking truth and exercising rights and policy, we often find that the truth is hidden or held back in terms of what I'm saying about being silent. When you do speak, you're not necessarily speaking the truth. That is subjective, but I find, especially when it comes to coverage stories like what the Palestinians have been experiencing, the truth is held back, and it's not necessarily a lie, but when you speak, you're not really finding out the true meaning behind what the reality is and why many of us are so oppressed. So I just wanted to explore that facet of silence and speaking up.
You got that, panel? Does anyone have a reply, an answer, something they want to say about that? Thank you very much, Angelique.
I was thinking about the truth of art and how we can say that if we are not allowed or if we are restricted or repressed, as we say here, and we cannot tell the truth in that moment, then we can find another time where we can speak up our truth through our productions. And I think that's the power of poetry, right? To tell the truth. There is no way to lie in a poem, I think.
I like that. There's there's no way to lie in a poem.
You cannot lie when you write a poem, no. It's not a poem, I guess, if you do that.
Yes?
Well, I guess artists are supposed to be role models. They have a lot of influence, and sometimes much more than a lot of politicians, to make the minds shift to what is just and what is right. But at the same time, you can choose to support a cause, but you cannot pick and choose the oppressed and the oppressors. On one side, for example, you support an oppressed people, and at the same time you support an oppressor. Like what happened with Ukraine and Palestine, Israel and Russia, and so on, for example. That's kind of hypocrisy in the sense that you are supporting on one side one oppressed and on the other side one oppressor, is also complicity with the hypocrisy that is going on, and that also shifts on the role of artist in being truthful to what is just and what is right. As a Muslim, our Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, support your brother, whether he is just or unjust, whether he is oppressed or oppressor. So of course this is puzzling to support an oppressor, because you know how to support an oppressed by supporting him in overcoming the oppression. But how do you support an oppressor? He said by preventing him from doing the oppression. This is how you support him. So that's why, even if we love these oppressors, we need to support them in stopping their oppression and not to remain silent facing their oppression, and support them even in doing much more oppression than they are doing already. And that's where silence can be powerful, or silence can be hypocrite or complicit with the oppression. And that's why also I would like to thank all those who supported and demonstrated and shouted, and even artists like Macklemore and others who really shouted high and loud their support, not because it's Palestinians, but because it is a just cause. Not criticizing Israeli government because they are Jewish or whatever, but because they are the oppressors in that sense. Thank you.
Thank you, Abdel Fattah. Thank you so much. So much profound and so much juicy bits in this panel, honestly. I'm full already. Can I ask, were there any questions from the online
No,
audience?
we just had a comment saying how powerful the poem was, and just echoing that they'd like to get an update when it's published.
Oh, okay, yes, we definitely have to do that. Anybody else here have a question for our panel?
I'd love to know. Do I need a microphone? I mean, I know quite a lot, obviously, about everyone's work and about. I just when we come to share with everyone your websites and everything, I really want to show people the amazing philosophies that you have, such as the beautiful resistance, Abdel Fattah, and the work that's going on both in Seeing Through the Arts and No Tan Distentes, particularly in this right-wing government that Argentina is facing. And I just really want to maybe ask what kind of artistic projects are you working on at the moment in this really difficult time at the moment?
Thank you.
Maybe start with Abdel Fattah.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. In fact, the philosophy of beautiful resistance is a way to say that every act of resistance against injustice, oppression, occupation is a beautiful act of humanity. And resisting through culture, arts, education are amazing ways to allow our young people to express themselves in the most beautiful, creative, peaceful ways, and hopefully grow up and change the world and create miracles and be proud of their achievements. So that's where performing, visual arts, culture and education are of importance. During this genocide that happens during the last 15 months and even before that, the philosophy word was using theater, dance, music, photography, video as ways to express oneself, working with kindergartens, with schools, with parents, focusing on mothers, because I believe it's women who change the world, with all respect for men, much more than the men. So actually we have summer camps, in fact winter camps at this time, and a lot of work in introducing robotics, 3D printing, chess, sports, and so on, in addition to theater, dance, music, painting, photography, video. Hopefully we can establish our cinema school and production house for young cinema makers. There is a lot of workshops with women empowerment and so on, and creating possibilities for economic independence. And there is the humanitarian aid program, but we do it in a way of respect, to serve our community with respect and dignity, not showing people in their misery. We owe our people to show them in their strength and dignity, not waiting in line and receive handouts and be grateful for the crumbs that everybody comes to throw on the table, but show with respect and dignity. And probably you can see in the background the different things we are doing at Arwad with the different programs. Even when we cook meals, we package them and deliver them to homes so that people do not feel humiliated of being taken in photos and so on. So that's why I guess the role of arts and artists, like I have been in the morning session a little bit, is to respond to the needs of the community, and not, it's not because we are artists or because we are mostly artistic cultural institution that we don't deal with humanitarian needs, with the needs of our community. We are always listening to what is needed, and we can, with money we expand, without money we continue to work. So with or without money we do it, expanding or shrinking depending on the money. And this is also referred to this sustainability thing, that you need a team that is committed and not, it's not a business, it's a live mission in that sense.
Here. Thank you very much, Abdel Fattah. Could we pose that same question? Yeah. Okay, yeah. So, unfortunately, we've come to the end of the panel time because we've run out of time.
I think we can hear just a couple of minutes from each.
Okay, fine. So, for that reason, I'll say, please, Benga and Daniela, could you please also tell us what you're doing currently in your organizations with what you're doing, your artistic outputs for against injustices, but just to have you make you aware that we are past our time right now.
Okay, so I'm just going to rush this. Last year, we actually focused more on empowering the women, because there's a lot of abuse on the feminine gender in Nigeria, and then also there's high rates of kidnapping in Nigeria. So those two issues we really focused last year. We did a production on which is called Flowers, which is women empowerment theatre play, and then we took it to the communities, because we also realized that we need to educate the women in the grassroots region. So we need to be moved from the big stage to the communities where we engage those women, and they know, try to, through the arts, educate them on their rights, what to do, what to allow, when to speak out, who to speak to. And then also in kidnapping, we went to the particular region in Nigeria where kidnapping is really, really on the eye, and then we put up a production with the stakeholders of the industry and the community stakeholders. We also went to the communities to do this, and because we know that the young minds, the homeless guys, the young guys are the breeding ground for this, where people use them to perform of the social injustice to people. So we did a show in the community. We did a workshop for the young minds. Vocational workshop where they get something to do, they can learn a skill, because the ideal mind is the devil workshop. So we try and engage their minds, and through art and through workshops, we tend to do this. And this year we're also kicking up on drug abuse and also kidnapping, because they're still on the rampant. And last week I heard that over 20 trillion naira was given out to kidnappers in the space of 2-3 years. Yeah, so that's what we're doing. That's it.
Thank you, Benga. Thank you very much. That's a lot said in 1.5 minutes. I love that. Daniela, could you tell us what your...
Yes. Okay. Well, we have our poetry workshop, and we usually once a year put our poems together and design a scene that we then sell in book fairs and other social economy fairs, we call them. And then we have a book that we published last year, and the name of the book is To Accompany is Political, and we are starting to translate that book into English. We have completed the translation of the introduction, and maybe I can make that material available to you too, because that it explains the history of our organization and our current projects. We also have workshops on art, screen printing, and a textile project too. And then, as Matt was saying, we don't have any support from the government since Milei came to power. So we are self-managing and self-funding mostly our programs. And therefore and as Abdel was saying, we may shrink our projects, but we still keep them, and we're not going to shut down or close. We will continue, and even if it is in a smaller scale, we will keep on writing and publishing in whatever form we can, and fighting together.
Brilliant, thank you, and well done you. Now, just before we bow out from this panel, I just want to remind the international, here and internationally, about the hub meetings that are happening next month. On the 5th of February, we have the Middle East and Asia. Abdel Fattah will be leading on that one. And on the 6th of February, we have Daniela, Latin America. And on the 7th of February, we have Africa, where Benga will be leading on that one, and that will mean that all the organizations in those regions will come together online and, a little bit like this, come together and discuss and talk about things that matter and or perform, and we don't know what's going to happen. It's up to them. So yes, I've given the little, there you go, we've had a little bit of a shout out there, but I do have to close this now because we are coming up 10 past the hour. It was so brilliant. Thank you so much, Benga. Thank you so much, Abdel Fattah, and thank you so much, Daniela. And thank you so much, Homelessness International.
Thank you all.
And thank you all to Lisa for chairing that so beautifully. And another big shift from our translators and to Shukri Online. Yes. And just to leave you that when we started, we always thought that, we knew that one of our main functions as a network would be that if you get amazing people in the room, amazing things happen. And I think this is the most perfect example of these incredible individuals and groups behind them coming together to remind us why we do what we do collectively in arts and homelessness. So thank you so much. It's wonderful to see you, and thank you for the poem. Great. So we'll have for the Zoom audience, we will say goodbye now. We'll see you again for the next panel, which is at 4 o'clock, photographic representation. And in London here, we're going to have a workshop to co-create some guidelines for photographic representation right here, right now, for the next hour or so. 50 minutes. Thank you so much. Thank you. See you soon. Bye, friends.
Bye, friends.